My boyfriend's sister saw him buying roses for another woman and told me he was cheating. The flowers were for his daughter's grave. Marcus and I had been together for 2 years. He was kind and gentle and made me laugh until my stomach hurt. We talked about marriage. We talked about kids. I thought I knew everything about him. Turns out I didn't know the most important thing. His sister Delia called me on a Tuesday afternoon. Her voice was sharp and angry. "I saw Marcus at the flower shop downtown," she said. "He bought 2 dozen pink roses and a teddy bear. When I asked who they were for, he got weird and left without answering. You need to find out what's going on." My stomach dropped. Marcus had told me he was working late that night. He never mentioned flowers or teddy bears or anything else. I tried to stay calm. There had to be an explanation. Maybe it was a surprise for me. Maybe it was for a coworker's birthday. Maybe Delia had misunderstood what she saw. But the doubt started eating at me like acid. That night, I asked Marcus how his day was. He said it was fine, busy, nothing special happened. He didn't mention the flower shop at all. My heart cracked a little. He was lying to my face. That's when I made the worst decision of my life. I followed him the next week when he left work early. He drove across town to a part of the city I had never been to. He parked outside a cemetery and walked through the gates carrying fresh flowers and that same teddy bear Delia had described. I sat in my car with my hands shaking on the steering wheel. What kind of affair involved a cemetery? Nothing made sense anymore. I waited until he left an hour later. Then I walked through the gates and followed the path he had taken. The roses were easy to spot against the gray headstones. The grave belonged to a little girl named Sophie Rose Mitchell, born 7 years ago, died 5 years ago. The teddy bear was propped against the headstone next to the fresh flowers. My legs gave out. I collapsed onto the grass next to that tiny grave and sobbed until I couldn't breathe. Marcus had a daughter who died when she was 2 years old, a daughter he had never told me about. I drove to his apartment that night and knocked on his door. When he opened it and saw my face, he knew something was wrong. "I followed you to the cemetery," I said. My voice was barely a whisper. "Why didn't you tell me about Sophie?" Marcus went pale. His whole body seemed to shrink into itself. He walked to the couch and sat down heavily, like his legs couldn't hold him anymore. "Her mother and I weren't together long," he said quietly. "Sophie was born premature. She had problems from the start, heart defects, lung issues. We spent most of her life in hospitals watching her fight just to breathe." Tears were streaming down his face. I sat next to him and took his hand. "She died in my arms on a Tuesday morning," he continued. "I promised her I would bring flowers every week, pink roses because they were her favorite color, and a teddy bear because she never got to have enough toys. Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. "We've been together 2 years. Because talking about her makes it real all over again." His voice cracked. "Because I was afraid you would look at me differently. Because some pain is too big to share with anyone." I pulled him into my arms and held him while he cried. We stayed like that for hours. I called Delia the next morning and told her she was wrong. She apologized and said she was just trying to protect me. I told her some secrets aren't affairs. Some secrets are just wounds that haven't healed yet. Marcus and I got married last spring. The ceremony was small and simple, just family and close friends, in a garden with pink roses everywhere. Before we said our vows, we visited Sophie's grave together. I brought flowers too, yellow ones because I wanted her to know I wasn't trying to replace her pink. Marcus introduced me to her properly. He told her I was going to be part of their family now. He promised we would keep bringing flowers every single week. I knelt down and touched her headstone. "I'll take care of him," I whispered. "I promise." Some love stories start with secrets. Some secrets are just love that got lost along the way. Sophie taught me that. I never met her, but I carry her with me everywhere.